Back to Wealth & Co., the Faith and Finance podcast, where we have real conversations about money, investing, wealth, and biblical wisdom. I'm your host, Chloe, and I believe building wealth isn't just about making more money. It's about making smarter decisions, moving with purpose, and keeping faith at the foundation. This week, we're talking about if I made $5,000 a month at my W-2 job, here's exactly how I'd use my money. So open your mind and let's get into it. Let me start this episode by saying something that might make some people mad. If I'm bringing home $5,000 a month and every single month I'm telling myself I don't have enough money to invest, I'm looking at my lifestyle before I start blaming my paycheck. Because $5,000 a month may not make you rich, but it's enough money to start making some serious financial moves if you stop trying to live like you make $10,000 a month. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. I'm giving myself $5,000, not $20,000. And definitely not some imaginary entrepreneur salary. $5,000 hitting my checking account every month for my W-2 job, and I'm going to tell you exactly how I would structure my life around that money if my goal was eventually to become wealthy. Now, obviously, everyone's situation is different. You may have children, you may have debt, you may live somewhere expensive, you may have higher insurance. So this isn't me telling you exactly what you need to personally do. This is me saying, if this were my money, here's my move. And the first thing I'm doing is controlling my biggest expenses, because everyone wants to talk about stocks, ETFs, passive income, and becoming a millionaire, but no one wants to talk about that $900 car payment you have sitting outside. So let's talk about it. If I'm bringing home $5,000 a month, I'm not voluntarily signing myself up for some massive car payment just because someone told me I could qualify for it. Qualifying for something and actually being able to afford it are two completely different conversations. Personally, at this income level, if I couldn't comfortably buy the type of car I wanted with cash, I'd be questioning whether I could really afford that car in the first place. Simple. Now, I'm not saying everyone has to buy a vehicle cash. Financing may make sense depending on your interest rate, liquidity, and overall financial situation. I'm talking about me. If my goal is aggressively building wealth on $5,000 a month, I'm not trying to impress anybody at a red light. The person next to me doesn't know my name, they're not paying my bills, they're not funding my retirement, and they're definitely not sending me a check when that car payment is due. So why am I trying to go broke impressing somebody? And if I already have an expensive vehicle that is destroying my budget, I'm looking for the cleanest financial way out of it. I'm checking what I owe, checking what the vehicle is worth, and looking at whether I can sell it, trade it down, refinance if appropriate, or otherwise reduce that expense completely. Sometimes building wealth requires admitting I bought too much of a car, I bought too much of a house, I'm spending too much money, something has to change. Now let's get into housing. If I'm bringing home $5,000 a month, personally, I would want my rent around $1,500 or less, if that's realistically available where I live. That's about 30% of my take-home money. Would I love the luxury apartment with a beautiful kitchen? Absolutely. But here's my question. Do I want the apartment more than I want financial freedom? Because if apartment A cost me $1,500 and apartment B cost me $2,300, that's a $800 difference every single month. That's $9,600 a year before we even talk about what the money could potentially do if it were invested. People will tell me they can't find money to invest while voluntarily spending hundreds or even thousands of dollars or more a month maintaining a lifestyle. That's where I start getting aggressive about my money. I'm not asking, can I make the payment? I'm asking, what is the payment preventing me from doing? That is a completely different question. So let's actually build the $5,000 monthly plan. I've got $5,000 coming in. I'm giving myself up to $1,500 for housing. Let's say utilities, phone, and internet come together around $350. Grocery and household expenses come to around $500. Transportation, gas, and insurance, let's call another $500. Assuming that I've got the vehicle situation responsible, now I'm around $2,850. Give me another $350 for personal expenses, subscriptions, random things like that. Now we're sitting at approximately $3,200 in monthly expenses, which means I roughly have $1,800 remaining. And this $1,800 is where the episode really starts, because this is where people either start building wealth or accidentally create another $1,800 worth of expenses. Think about it. A lot of us don't increase our investments. When our income increases, we increase our lifestyle. We make another $500 and somehow we find another payment. We make another $1,000 and suddenly we need a better apartment. We get a raise and now we need a new car. We get a bonus and immediately start planning a vacation. Then five years later, we're making substantially more money, but somehow still waiting for payday. No, I'm going to break that cycle. If I've got $1,800 left after my core expenses, I want that money working towards something substantial. My first move is building an emergency reserve. Before I'm trying to become Warren Buffett, I need to make sure that one flat tire doesn't put my entire life on a credit card. If I don't have an emergency fund yet, I'm building one. Let's say I start putting $500 of that $1,800 towards cash reserves. The $500 is not for sale. It's not for anyone to decide to go to Miami. It's not when a new phone comes out. It's for emergencies. Period. Once I built an appropriate emergency reserve for my circumstances, that $500 doesn't suddenly become shopping money either. I'm redirecting it towards the next wealth building goal. Next, I'm looking at my employer retirement plan. If my employer offers a retirement plan with a match, I'm paying attention to that. If my employer is willing to contribute additional money when I contribute to my retirement account, I'm at least evaluating how to capture the full match if my budget allows for it. If I'm ignoring that while spending hundreds of dollars every month on things that don't build my future, I need to rethink my priorities. I'm not investing because investing looks cool on social media. I'm investing because I'm trying to buy my future freedom. Every dollar I invest represents a little piece of my future that I'm trying to take back. After my emergency reserves and my workplace retirement strategy, I'm looking at an IRA. If I'm eligible and it fits my tax situation, maybe I'm putting $300 a month there. Roth versus traditional eligibility and contribution limits depend on your individual circumstances and current tax rules. So I'm not blindly opening accounts because someone online told me to. I'm learning about what I'm doing. But the bigger point is that I'm giving my money somewhere productive to go before my lifestyle finds somewhere unproductive to spend it. Now, maybe another $400 goes into a brokerage account, and this is where people start asking, okay, Chloe, what are we buying? My answer isn't some random stock somebody saw on TikTok and said it was going to the moon. I'm building an actual portfolio. I'm looking at diversified, low-cost investments. I'm understanding broad market index funds and ETFs. If I decide to buy individual companies, I'm researching the businesses, understanding the risk, and accepting that individual stocks can lose money. I'm not gambling my rent money. I'm not investing my emergency reserves. I'm definitely not putting my entire portfolio into one company because I watched a 30-second video. We're building wealth. We're not buying lottery tickets with extra steps. So look at what we've done with that $1,800. Maybe $500 go towards building emergency reserves, $300 go towards an IRA, and $400 go towards an investment brokerage account. Depending on the workplace plan, some retirement contributions may already be coming directly from payroll, so I need to account for that when building my actual budget. But I still want some breathing room because I don't believe building wealth means you're supposed to sit in your house eating noodles in the dark for 20 years. I'm going to enjoy some of my money. Give me a reasonable amount for restaurants, entertainment, clothes, coffee, or whatever I like to enjoy. Maybe that's $300, but when the $300 is gone, we're done. I'll see the restaurant next month. And we really need to normalize something. You can afford something and still say no. Having the money does not mean you have to spend the money. That's financial discipline. Every time money enters your account, you do not have to immediately find a reason for it to leave. Whatever remains after my planned spending and investing can go toward another financial goal. Maybe I'm saving for a house. Maybe I'm trying to start a business. Maybe I'm paying down high interest debt. Maybe I'm building a larger investment position. Maybe I'm saving for education. Whatever it is, that money needs a purpose. That's really the philosophy I want you to remember from this entire episode. Every dollar gets a job. If I make $5,000, all $5,000 gets an assignment. That does not mean I spend $5,000. Saving is an assignment. Giving is an assignment. Paying down debt is an assignment. Enjoying some of your money responsibly is also an assignment. The problem starts when money doesn't have an assignment because unassigned money has a funny way of disappearing. Amazon gets some, restaurants get some, subscriptions get some, random Target trips get some. Then you get to the end of the month, look at your account and go, where does my money go? It went exactly where you allowed it to go. And this is where faith comes into the conversation for me. One of the reasons I talk about faith and finance together is because stewardship changes the way I look at money. If I believe that I have something I'm responsible for managing wisely, then I can't only ask, what can I buy? But I also need to ask, what can I build? What can I save? What can I invest? What can I give? What can this money become if I manage it properly? That creates a completely different relationship with money. Money now becomes a tool instead of something that controls every decision I make. Now, here's another uncomfortable conversation. If I make $5,000 a month and this budget doesn't work because my legitimate necessary expenses genuinely consumes almost all of it, then eventually cutting expenses isn't enough. Now I have an income problem that I have to go after. I may start by asking myself, how do I turn $5,000 into $6,000, $6,000 into $7,000? What certifications can I get? What skill can I learn? What business can I build? What legitimate side income can I create? There is a limit to how much you can cut. You cannot budget your expenses to below zero, but your earning potential does not necessarily have to have the same ceiling. That's why Alpha & Co. isn't just about saving money. We're talking about building wealth. Saving is defense, investing is offense. Increasing your earning power gives you more money to put into the game. I want all three working together. I want to protect what I have, grow what I have, and increase what I have available to grow. Now I want everybody watching to participate in this one. I'm giving you $5,000 a month after taxes. Your rent is $1,500. Your essential bills and living expenses bring your total to around $3,200. Now you have $1,800 left. What are you doing with it? I want actual numbers in the comments. Don't just tell me I'd invest it. Tell me $500 to emergency funds, $500 to retirement, $500 to brokerage, $300 for random expenses. Build your own version. I want us to start talking about money with actual numbers attached. It's easy to say, I want to be wealthy. Okay, show me the plan. I want to start investing. Okay, how much? I want financial freedom. Okay, what's your number? That's when financial goals start becoming real. When you can put a dollar amount, timeline, and strategy behind what you say. Now we actually have something we can work with. So here's this week's money move. Pull up your bank statement, look at your last full month, calculate exactly how much money came in, then calculate your true essential living expenses. After everything necessary is paid, find your remaining number. Maybe yours is $2,000, maybe it's $1,000, maybe it's $500. I don't care. We're starting somewhere. I want you to answer one question. If this were my money and I was serious about building wealth, what would be my next move? Give every remaining dollar a purpose before the next month begins. Because you may discover that you don't need to wait until you're making $10,000 or $20,000 a month to start building wealth. You may simply need to become more intentional with the $5,000 that's already passing through your hands. And I'm going to leave you with this. Stop trying to look wealthy and start trying to become wealthy. There's a difference. The car can wait. The luxury apartment can wait. The designer bag can wait. Your future shouldn't have to. I'd rather look normal today and have options tomorrow than spend every dollar trying to convince strangers that I'm doing well. That's the move. Thank you for tuning into Alpha & Co., the Faith and Finance podcast. If you got something valuable from today's conversation, share this episode with someone who wants to make smarter money moves and build a stronger financial future. Keep learning, keep investing, keep the faith, and most importantly, keep building wealth with purpose. I'll see you in the next episode.